As you know, my commentaries are usually effervescent and upbeat, but today, downbeat, for three reasons with a common theme. First, a couple of days ago it was reported that out of the West African country of Burkina Faso, two French soldiers who were there on an anti-terrorism mission sexually assaulted two little girls, one 3-year-old, one 5-year-old. They videotaped it, so it's been captured on video. They've been sent back to France. Presumably they will be prosecuted. But it comes immediately on the heels of the revelations that a number of French peacekeeping soldiers in the Central African Republic last year sexually assaulted little boys. So what is it about the military high command in France that hasn't trained its soldiers to understand that when they're on mission, whatever the circumstance, sexual assault is not permitted, and that includes children? Honest to God, I'd like to reinstate the guillotine if I weren't against capital punishment. And then number two is the question of South Sudan. This is a country that has been independent for barely 4 years. It has 11 to 12 million people. And ever since independence, it has been immersed in this most dreadful, savage, barbaric, ethnic conflict. Much of it focused on kids. I mean, tens of thousands of children maimed, murdered, raped in the process of this savage ethnic duel. And the world observes. I mean, the world will move heaven and earth to end conflicts in Yemen and Syria and Libya, but they never show the same energy, the international community, the international countries, when it comes to South Sudan. Of course, they are black Africans, and therefore expendable. And then you have, number three, Sudan itself, ruled over by Al-Bashir, evil incarnate, a president who is a true monster and who has been indicted for crimes against humanity and war crimes by the International Criminal Court for the savagery directed at the civilian population in Darfur, Darfur now being the poster region for atrocity. And now we know that Al-Bashir is dropping cluster bombs on the Nuba Mountains in the southern part of his country. Extraordinary column this last week in the New York Times by Nick Kristof. And the cluster bombs are being dropped on children, on schools. Now, cluster bombs, when they hit the ground, they unleash steel projectiles which are designed to maim and murder, and they do. There is an actual international convention against cluster munitions signed by 116 countries, but of course not by Sudan. It's absolutely extraordinary, this intolerable attack on children. You know, 20 years ago, I was part of a study on the consequences of armed conflict on children, and we believed our recommendations would make a real difference. It pains me to say that they haven't made a real difference. The war against children continues, alive and well and ferocious, and the world, well, the world watches. That was last week. I'm Stephen Lewis.